Okay, sharing my screen. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is visible.
Great. Thank you. So as I discussed yesterday also, so these are few topics which will be kind of a theoretical. So we'll start off with some theoretical concepts, and then we will move on slowly and steadily into the practical things. Okay. So moving with the first one. So initially, this is like some little bit of concept regarding this RPA, this term, what it is, how it coined, how like people come to know, what are the things they come to understand. Like we should do this approach and understand the things. So I will just start up little bit about this one. So it will be a little kind of informative things here. Okay. So initially, if I talk about like what actually this RPA is, so the full form of this RPA is robotic process automation. I hope you all have already heard. Okay. So like different peoples have given different type of definitions for this RPA. So, but in on and all, if we discuss like this is the main thing here. So in this, like R means robotic. Robotic means like we are having certain machines which are mimicking the human actions. Those are called robots. Then there is a second one called process. So process in the sense like there is some sequence of steps which helps us to get some meaningful activity. What it means is like we are performing certain steps and in the end we will get up some meaningful results. That is what a process is. So if we talk about an example, a basic example of this is like how we make a tea, basically. So there is a simple step like we add up water, then tea, then sugar and everything, and in the end we get the things. So that same thing is here with the process. And the last one is the automation. It is basically like if we talk about any kind of process which is actually done by robot instead of humans and without any human intervention means like without taking any help from the humans, so that is called automation. So if in all, if we sum up all these things, so the definition which we are going to tell, and which is actually, if somebody asks in the interviews also, that's what we need to tell is like mimicking the human actions to perform a sequence of steps that lead to a meaningful activity without any human intervention is known as robotic process automation. So that's a normal term, okay, and the definition which you should explain in the interviews also. Okay. So is this thing clear to you all?
Yes, Vikas.
Okay, great. Okay, so now if I talk a little bit more inside this is like, so earlier, like mainly the things have started in the like early 2000, like when this RPA things have come up, then they grows the things, understand more inside this and do the development and everything into the RPA. So initially, if we talk about the period of 2010 to 15 in the sense, so at that moment, it has uh, gripped the market a lot and it has increased uh, tremendously. So here we can see some facts are there, like they have developed near about 60,000 robots during that period, and they have like put up number of jobs around 2,30,000. So these jobs are like whenever a bot is developed, they work on the basis of jobs. So jobs can be like we run on a runtime or it can be in a scheduled manner. Runtime in the sense like whenever the user need, they can run these robots as per their requirement. Or we can schedule these bots according to the client requirement and at that particular time the bot will run. So whenever a bot runs, it runs on the basis of the jobs. So So they have done near about 2,30,000 jobs, which is really a very good figure from that time, and it is continuously increasing. Initially, so there is one more term called deployment. Okay, so the deployment in the sense like whenever we develop any process and put it up into the production, then the process of moving the bot to the production is called deployment. Okay, it means like it is available to the end users who can use it up. So that is deployment. So initially the deployment rate was just 3.1%. Then it keep on increasing to 36.4 at that moment. And it is nowadays it is a lot. You can say like almost 80 to 90% market, we can see like it is been grabbed by this RPA, where like in each and every process we are trying to implement the RPA solutions. Okay. So that is a kind of a like basic theoretical understanding which I just want to give you, so that you come to know like how the market was earlier and how slowly and steadily it is gripping up the things. Okay. So this was I discussed with you like what exactly this RPA is. Okay. Now the second important thing is like the evolution of the RPA, like how what was in the past, then what it become into the present, and what it will be into the future at the coming time. Okay. So like if we talk about the past, so before to RPA, there were some forefathers to it. And these are the three main things. One was screen scraping software. Second one was workflow automation and management tool. And third one was artificial intelligence. Okay. So these were the three key things. By looking at it, people think of to develop such technology, which we are telling it as RP. Okay. So what are these technologies used to do? Like this was a software which was available in the market, which was working on doing the screen scraping. Now, what is the meaning of screen scraping here is scrap means to fetch some data, and screen means like whatever the screen you are currently able to see, from that screen, it should be able to fetch the data. So these softwares were capable enough to fetch the data from any screen. Okay. So this we used to do. Okay. So there were some softwares which used to do on this work. The second one was like workflow automation and the management tools. So what it means is like workflow, as you know, like one after the other, whatever the steps we are mentioning in our flow, it gets executed. So this is like for workflow. Okay. And management tools is like for example, we are working on certain database things, or maybe we are handling up a large amount of data related to the customer information, invoice totals. So all these things, there were a different type of tools which used to manage all this data. Okay. And the third thing was the artificial intelligence. Okay. So it's a very like old technology, you can say. Like in 1956, this artificial intelligence has come up in this conference, which was at Dartmouth College. From that time, this AI is existing in the market. Okay. And everybody knows what's the capability of AI is like. They are able to like take some decisions, to do some work, able to like enhance themselves by understanding if they are doing some mistakes or something. They can take some judgments. So all these things we can achieve it through the AI. So these were the three predecessors which were already available into the market. By taking some help or knowledge or understanding from these things, people have developed this technology, which was right now we known as robotic process automation. Okay. So this was the thing. Now, if I talk about the current scenario of this RPA is like, as I told you, like in the early 2000s, the things have started. Okay. So like different type of companies have come into the market who have taken some understanding from this existing technologies and softwares and developed their own tools for these RPAs. So there are different type of companies available in the market. Like the common ones which everybody knows is UiPath is there, Automation Anywhere is there, Blue Prism is there. Apart from this, there are many others. Okay, Cofex is there, WorkFusion is there. So I will explain you all these things. So these were the companies actually who were more interested into this one and created such type of tools to work into the RP. Okay. And if I talk about the future, then future in the sense like as you know, like it is gripping the market a lot. So uh nearly steadily, like you will see like almost all of the process might be sent to the RPA for the automation in the near future. Okay, as well as like the day by day it is getting increasing the capability in the sense like right now when we talk about the RPA, what it does is like whatever the manual steps which we are doing, we are just automating it into the RPA. Now they are trying to add on some AI flavor also inside this. So what this AI is going to do is like it will give some help in taking certain kind of decisions at some moment. Okay, not totally, but at some place definitely it will help it out. Okay, so these all things slowly and steadily is getting added into the RPA. So it is going to enhance a lot in the near future also. Okay, so that was like which I can say like the past, present, and future if we talk about to the RPA. Okay, any question up till here? No one? I know it's a little theoretical things, but it's like something which we should know for our understanding. Okay. Now, if I like talk about the characteristics of RPA, okay. So there are few characteristics, and these things are really very important when we are going for the interview perspective also. Okay. So if I talk about the characteristics, there are mainly four three types of characteristics are there. One is code free, second one is user friendly, and third one is non disruptive. So now what is the meaning of this one code free? As from the starting class itself, I am telling like whenever we work on to the RPA, we don't need any programming skills to do on this work. The main agenda to create these tools are like even if somebody is on a non-IT background person also can easily understand and do the work here. Okay, so while we are working in RPA, it is totally code free. We do not require any, as if any programming skills. Okay, if a person is good with their subject or like good with their processes, can easily understand the things and can implement the automate the processes through the RPA tools. Okay. So that's the first thing. Second one is user friendly. User friendly because like it is totally working on some drag and drop, and that too like the activities names and the details which we get it up is very easy to understand. So even if it is a like some business persons are there who are not actually working into IT department, but still they can easily understand and automate their processes on their own also by having some basic knowledge inside this RPA. Okay. And the third one is the non-disruptive. So what it means like it always avoids the complexity and the risk. So why it avoids it? Because it's a very simple thing like whatever the process which we are doing it manually, we are actually just automating that process. Okay, we are not doing any changes inside the process. So if we are not adding any extra step or removing anything, so it will never create any complexity into the process. And we know like whenever we do that particular process, what will be the end result, or we can say the output of the process. So if we are not seeing any risk in the manual steps also, so definitely after automating the things also there will not be any risk. So it always avoids this complexity and risk. Okay. So have you understood this one? At least anybody should say yes, no, at least one.
Yeah, yes, Vikas.
Okay, thank you. Now there is one more important question which comes up, like what are the actual benefits of RPA? Like why we should think of like to go ahead and implement the RPA for any processes. Okay. So there are few benefits. The first one is the wide range automation. Second one is the quick return on investment. Third one is the enterprise scalability. Fourth one is powerful analytics. And fifth one is cost saving. Okay, now what these means are, let me just explain you. So first one is the wide range automation. So as the term is wide range, like it's giving a very wide range in which we can implement the automation. So what this means is like different type of fields which are available into the market. Say for example, it is for banking domain or healthcare domain, or it is an insurance domain, any kind of domain which you can think of. In all those domains, we are able to implement RPA. So that is the major benefit of this RPA. Second one is the quick return on investment, ROI. So basically, whatever the amount you are investing on that, you are getting a return very quickly. Why we get the return? There is a very simple thing. Like if we talk about a normal software projects development, it goes on for around 6 months to 1 year also. But whenever we are working into the RPA things, whenever we implement and develop anything, it is a very small time frame for doing the things. Okay. If it is a so like it depends on the complexity. I will explain you at the later stage what this means is. Okay. So if it is like a simple process, then we take only 4 weeks to develop that, like automate that process end to end. If it is a medium process, then we take 6 weeks to automate that process. And if it is a complex process, then we take 8 weeks. 8 weeks means 2 months. So, like hardly our automation process goes for 4 weeks to 8 weeks, not more than that. So that's why, like, if the client is investing at some processes, they will get the returns very quickly. So that's the benefit of implementing RPA. Okay. Third one is the enterprise scalability. Okay. Enterprise scalability means like this implementation of the RPA, it is like very flexible, and like we can use it flexible in the sense like either we are working on some desktop based applications or something, or we are working on some cloud based applications or environment. In both the scenarios, we can easily implement the RPA. It is not like at one place we can implement and not at the other place. It is not that scenario. Okay. So that's why, like whatever kind of applications environment we are using while working in any organization, in all that things we can easily implement the things, we can easily automate those processes with the help of RPA. Okay. Next one is the powerful analytics. So here analytics in the sense like where we need to analyze something and get some end results. Okay. So here the analytics means like the way we create some reports in the graphical mode, like in the graph way we understand. Okay, like earlier, I'm just taking an example. For example, if we are working on some sales processes, so what we see is like last month what was the sales, this month what is the sale. So like you will come to know like whether the sales are growing or sales are decreasing. So these all things kind of analysis which we do on the basis of some diagrammatic sub or some graphs. So these type of things also can be done with the RPA. So RPA itself has a capability to do this analysis and give some graphical outputs to you. So that process also can be done into the RPA. Okay. The last one is the cost saving. So cost saving in the sense like as it is like, since we already discussed, like it is giving a very quick return on investment. So it is going to save a cost a lot. Why it is going to save? For example, if we are working for something and we have implemented RP into that process. So automatically that thing will be done very quickly in a very less time. Okay. And it will help us to like use our resources, or we can say the workforce, into some more meaningful works also. Okay. So in this way, like whatever the amount or the cost which is given by the company to the employees for that kind of work, which is kind of a repetitive or nature kind, we can say. So those all things are already taken care by these RPA bots. So we can easily use our workforce to work in some more meaningful things. So here we can easily save the money. So that's the very important point here. Okay. So did you understood? So this all things I will share with you to have a quick walkthrough. You can easily read on all these things to understand. And if there is any question, we can easily discuss on that thing. Okay. Next thing is like what kind of popular RPA tools and vendors are available into the market. So these are some of the names which I have noted down here. Okay. Like Automation Anywhere is there, Blue Prism is there, OpenSpan is there, UI Path is there, Variant is there, Blackline is there, Nice Optimize is there, Datamatics is there, Cofex is there, Azverve is there, Health System is there. So there are lot of tools available into the market. Each like these companies have created their own tools and launched into the market, which we can use to automate any kind of process into the RP. Okay. In this, if I talk about like this nice optimize, so this is the like kind of very old tool in all of these RPA tools. Okay. And it is having a very good command, not in India, but if I talk about outside India, there is a very good command of this tool. Okay. Now there is also one more important thing is like what is the RPA worldwide implementation? Like somebody if you ask to you like what is the worldwide implementation of RPA, so you should be able to say uh, like we are implementing in RPA into a very large level. Lot of industries are using this RPA. Okay. And it is helping to optimize the cost and getting the resources free to be used in some meaningful works. Okay. And it helps the business to grow a lot in the near future. So that is the way you should respond if somebody asks you like what is the worldwide implementation of RPA. Okay. Now this is also very important thing which I told, which we will discuss about the RPA life cycle. Okay. So whenever we are working into the automation of RPA, so there are totally four things, four phases you can say of RPA lifecycle. The first one is the analysis. The second one is the bot development. The third one is the testing. And the fourth one is deployment and maintenance. So what this meaning is, I will just explain you one by one. So first phase is your analysis phase. Analysis, as the name says, like we are going to analyze something. Okay. So in this, what we do is like whatever the business process which has came to us in which we need to implement RPA, we analyze the things like whether actually we can implement RP inside that process or not. That's what we cover it up inside this analysis. So for this, there are multiple things are there. So I will just try to explain you. Okay. One is called business analyst in the RPA team. One is called solution architect in the RPA team. The others are called developers in the RPA team. So these are main three things. Okay. So what the role of business analyst is to connect with the client and understand their process. Okay. Once the business analyst understand the process, they will create a document. Okay. That document is given to the RPA solution architect. The role of solution architect is to read on that particular business process, understand the things, and to decide whether we can implement actually RPA for this process or not. Okay. Once the solution architect says, yes, we can implement RPA inside this, then the solution architect is going to create a document which will be a technical solution for that business process. So these all steps are covered in this analysis phase. Okay. Now I have talked about two documents. One document is created by business analyst and the second document is created by the solution architect. Okay. So these have some specific name in RPA. Okay. The first document which is created by business analyst is called process design document, which is actually that it will cover that complete process which business is currently following manually. And second one, the document which is created by the solution architect is called solution design document. That is like what is the technical approach which we are following and will implement the solution through RPA for it. So these all things are covered in this analysis phase. Okay. Once the analysis is done and we are good to start the development, then our second phase of this life cycle starts, which is called bot development phase. So as the name is, like, we are going to develop the bot in this phase. Okay. So depending on the process, it can be like that process will be assigned to one RPA developer, or it can be assigned to a team of RPA developers. Okay, maybe like two, three, four RPA developers are working on same process. So it depends on like how what is the complexity of that process. That all is decided by the solution architect. Okay, so either it can be developer or it can be team. So they actually starts working on the development of this process based on the solution design document which was created by the solution architect in their development environment. Okay, so here in this when we are working into the development of RPA, we are having three type of environments available with us. One is called development environment. One is called UAT, user acceptance testing environment. And the third one is called production environment. Okay. So the bot in the bot development phase, whoever that RPA developer or team of RPA developers are there, they will start developing the bot based on that solution design document in their development environment. Okay. What they do, like they will develop this process as well as they will run and test the bot in their development environment, how it is responding. So this testing is called unit testing. Okay. So in the bot development phase, two things are covered. One is like the development of the process, and second one is called the unit testing of the process. So these two things are covered in this bot development. Once it is done and developer says like I have completed the process along with the unit testing, then our third phase, that is called testing phase, will start. So now in the testing phase, there are two things. Okay. Some companies follows like they will keep a separate testing team who will do the testing of your processes. And some companies say like whoever the developer who has developed the bot will do the testing also. It depends on the client requirement and what the company is following. Okay. In both the scenario, what we do in the testing phase is like we are going to test our bots. Okay, and we are going to connect with the client or the user, you can say, in which we will show the demo of the bot in the testing environment. And this is called user acceptance testing. Okay, so as I told you, there are three environments. So now the bot will be moved to the user acceptance testing environment, UAT environment, and there we will run that particular process and we will show the demo. Once the testing is done, we share the complete results with the client. Client check the things and will give the confirmation whether we are ready to move our bot into the production or not. So these all things are covered in this testing phase. Once we get the confirmation from the client, then we moves on to the last phase, which is called deployment and maintenance. As I told you in the starting, deployment in the sense like moving our bots into the production phase. Okay. Production in means like the real time where the real users are actually using our things. Okay. So once we get the confirmation, then we deploy our process into the production and our maintenance time starts. Some people call this as maintenance. Some people called it as hypercare period also. So what is this means is like deployment is clear to you, like moving the bot to the production. Now the second thing is hypercare period. What it means is like during that time, developers as well as the client will monitor how the bot is responding and like what is the end result which we are getting after every run is actually the expected results or not. Okay. So this hypercare period ideally lasts for 15 days to 1 month. It depends on the client requirement. So like in common, we go for a 15 days of hypercare period. Some client says like we want to go for a 1 month hypercare period. Some increases also. It depends on the requirement of the client. Okay. So during this hypercare period, we see like how end-to-end bot is running, what results we are getting. And once the things are done, then it is handed over to the support team. Okay. So support team will take care in future if any kind of issue comes up, which is called incidents, or any kind of request enhancement comes up, which is called request in the support team. So those all things are taken care. So these were the four phases which we follow in this RPA lifecycle. Does anyone have any question in this one?
No, it was clear.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will move on, like as we discussed about the benefits of RPA, there are few limitations of RPA also. Okay, so we need to understand what are actual limitations into the RPA. So first limitation is like whenever we automate any process into the RPA and we we run the process, okay, either you have like automated the things, the process in a correct manner or in a wrong manner. It will run the process as per the instructions you have passed into the robot. And if it is a wrong step which you have added into the bot, bot is not going to learn anything from their failures. Even if you run your process one time or 1000 times also, it will always do a wrong result for you until and unless you only go ahead and do the changes into your bots. It will never learn anything from its failure. So that's the first limitation. Second limitation is like if in case we are implementing RPA on some broken processes, so we can't expect like it is going by implementation of RPA, it is going to fix that process. Okay. It will still be a broken one only. Broken in the sense like if in case in that process we are missing some steps or something manually also, so it doesn't means like when we actually think of like to now implement the RP into the process, we will be able to fill those gaps inside that process. So that never happens. As I told you earlier also, like whatever the process which we are doing manually, that same thing we actually automate it into the RPA. But it will never be like if there are 10 steps manually, we are going to make it 11 into the RPA or 9 into the RPA. It doesn't happen. Okay. And the last one will be like this implementation of RPA and the working of these robots always works on only electronic inputs. It never works on any non-electronic inputs. So that's the last limitation of this RP. Okay. I hope it is clear to you all. Okay. Now this is also a very important question. Like if we talk about the RPA testing, okay, like when we are working into the RPA, what kind of testing we do? So in this, basically there are two categories which comes up. One is called business process testing and second one is called robots testing. Okay. So what this means is like whenever any developer has developed any process, okay, and they says like it is completed, then we moves on into the testing phase as I discussed above. Correct. So during that testing phase, we test two things. First one is called business process testing. What it means is like whatever that actual business process which was followed by client is actually got covered in our bot or not. Okay. What it means like whatever the steps which was collected by the business analyst in that process design document has been covered in the steps which is given as a technical solution in the solution design document. So that is the one thing which we check. Okay. And the second thing which we check is the robots testing. Robots testing in the sense like we have to be sure like whenever we run our robots, it should run end to end. It should not be like some error comes up and bot get fails. Okay. Also, like we should have implemented proper error handling into the robots so that even though if some issues comes up, bot should be able to handle it up, give the proper information about it, and ends up the solution in a bot in a proper manner. So that's the two thing which we check in this testing phase. Okay. All right. This is also some important questions like how long does it take in developing automated systems? So it basically, as I told you, it totally depends on the complexity. If it is a simple one, it takes 2 weeks. If it is a medium complexity, then it will take 4 weeks to develop. And if it is a high complexity, then it will take 6 weeks to develop. So development it doesn't include your testing phase and UAT phase and deployment phase. Development means like that bot development phase, which I discussed with you in that RPA lifecycle. Okay. Another one is like how much does it is going to cost if we implement RPA? Okay. So if in case we are using any FTEs, FTE means full-time employee, like a regular employee like us, we all are working in some companies. So we are a full-time employee for that company. Okay. So whatever the cost to company, like we are working on the basis of CTCs, correct? Everybody is having certain CTC on which they work. So whatever the CTC it is on an average basis is given to an employee, the 1/3 of that amount need to be invested when we actually think of to implement RPA. Okay. Now, this is also a very important question. If somebody asks you, like, what are the typical uses of RPA? Like, where we should think of, like, these are the actual things where we should go and implement RPA. So there are few of the processes, like one is your data entry. Okay. If in case you are having some data entry processes in which like on the daily basis you are getting certain forms or something where you are entering your data, and it is, so this process is actually repetitive in nature, like on the daily basis you are going to perform that similar kind of steps for different kind of data. Okay. So in such type of things we can easily implement RPA. Okay. Second one is the application migration. Migration in the sense like we are moving from like maybe to the lower version to the higher version kind of things, or we are upgrading some of the applications. Okay, upgrading like making the version higher of any application. In that scenario, if we have some data in that application, that we can easily move on to the higher version with the help of the RPA. Okay. Third one is the automation of reports. So what it means, like on the daily basis, if you are having certain kind of work in which you like analyze the data which you are getting, maybe in some Excel formats, okay, and then on the basis of that you create certain reports and send it to your managers or something. So this is also a kind of a like repetitive work which you do on the daily basis. So in these things also you can put up your automation, and bot can easily understand the logic which we are following in this to create the report, and bot will follow that logic and will develop the reports for us. Okay. Fourth one is the rule-based decision making. As the name is saying, like if in case you are working in any kind of process and there are certain rules on the basis of which we take some decisions to get the end results, then in that kind of processes also we can easily implement RPA, because we know like on the basis of these specific rules what kind of end results we are going to get. So in all these things we can easily implement our RPAs. And the last one is the well-defined processing. What it means is like if a particular process is properly well-defined and we know each and every steps clearly, what will be the end result of such processes. So in all these type of processes, we can easily implement our RPA. Okay. All right. So this was your initial thing, which I can say here. The first topic which we were discussing about the robotic process automation concepts. Okay. So in this, all these kind of things I have tried to cover. So you will get a lot of understanding on this one. Now the next thing will be what to be automated. So this thing we will start on Monday. So for today we can keep till here. So these, like, I know it's a little theoretical things. Maybe you might feel little boring, but it's something very important whenever you think of to go for the interviews. Like these are very important questions which they actually ask in the interview, apart from your technical knowledge which you have. Okay. So does anyone has any question, anything they want to ask? Or if they have not understood anything?
हेलो
Yes, Jyoti.
सर एक्चुअली जो हमारा 2023 वाला जो वर्जन है ना यूआई पाथ का सर वो इंस्टॉल होने में दिक्कत आ रही है, इंस्टॉलेशन एरर आ रहा है।
Okay.
तो उसको रिजॉल्व कैसे करें सर, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि मैं 3-4 दिन से कर रही हूँ और ये प्रॉब्लम हमें मतलब 1 वीक पहले से आना स्टार्ट हो गया था साइन में।
अच्छा,
और
ठीक है.
मैंने फीडबैक देखा था बहुत सारे लोगों का, तो सबको सेम इशू वही इनकाउंटर इशू आ रहा है।
So it might be like there is some currently some issue is going on into this UI path. We can see to it definitely what it is. Okay. So
सर अगर आपके पास सेटअप है तो आप मेरे को बताना। उस
um,
सेटअप से डाउनलोड करके देखूंगी, क्या पता पॉसिबिलिटी उसकी हो जाए।
ठीक है, I will connect with you separately on this one. Okay, and we'll discuss with you. That's not a problem. Okay,
Okay.
because after certain classes, I will come on that part also. How to install RPA UiPath in the systems. Okay. I,
ओके
I
तो ये
think
जो पीडीएफ है ना सेंड कर दीजिए तो हम लोग रीड आउट कर लेंगे
sure.